What is up, disc golf fans, and welcome to the 2023 Maine State Championships presented by High Roller Lobster Company, elevated by Thoughtspace. We are in the most northeastern corner of the United States up in Maine, and we are here for a tremendous A-tier with some pretty big talent just the week right before Worlds. My name is Chris German, and along beside me we have co-founder and partner Derek Skoll. How you doing, bud?
What is up, everybody? Great to be here. Super excited to be calling the shots, as this is the first time Gatekeeper has recorded any coverage in the state of Maine. And I'm really excited to take a look at our feature card here. Mostly Thoughtspace Athletics athletes. However, we do have returning and defending champ Josh DiBattista there in the foursome as well.
Yeah, a lot of people here just the week right before Worlds, so pretty stacked field.
First up here, we have hole 1, 415 feet, pretty narrow gap. You're going to want to just stay straight here with something that finishes pretty consistently there at the end. You got a lot of roots to contend with, but first up we have Eric Oakley.
Yeah, as you can see, kind of wet already starting the day. It just feels like a very dreary day here.
Yeah, and that's really no surprise, as we've been battling weather for what seems to be almost every tournament that we have been to this year.
Yeah, in the week leading up to Worlds, I mean, it was raining every day up in the Northeast. As Debo there is going to connect pretty early, still has a lot of scrambling to get up and down for par. Matt Bell, no stranger to Gatekeeper coverage, as that flips up and gets right around the tree. And he is well in the circle, putting for birdie.
We have James Proctor last here. Now, something to remember here as we work our way through the round is that James is playing this course relatively blind. I believe he walked maybe half of the course before the event, but has zero playing time on any of these holes.
DiBattista there. He's going to catch that last guardian tree, but he should have a putt there for par. Eric Oakley is making good work here. Just needs to slow down. And push that a little long. Circle's edge.
Yeah, I think he was getting maybe a little ahead of himself, trying to make up for that pulled tee shot there. But like you said, he's going to be slightly outside the circle.
Proctor with a layup, and Eric there, he's going to be starting with a bogey. Josh has some work here as well to save par. And he's going to be starting with bogey as well. This hole came in half a stroke over par, and that was not the hardest hole out here. So some very challenging lines. Matt Bell's going to pick up the birdie. Great start there. Couple stroke swing to start your tournament. That will bring us into hole 2, par 3, 308 feet, 94 meters. This one you have a gap right off the tee you have to hit, and a sloping green with a woods line about circle's edge there. So this one's all about speed and distance control and angle control and trying to land at the top of the hillside. Very easy to kind of overshoot this one.
Yeah, and the path behind the pin is not OB, so we don't have to necessarily worry so much about where we see Matt land.
Yeah, it's going to be a tricky putt there for birdie. And that's probably the most common miss, is just people airing it 300 feet downhill. This is probably pretty common as well. Fading out to the left there. He's going to be a little outside circle. Probably
you will notice
45.
you will notice that James did find himself a level spot, so he's not going to be challenged too much with an elevation variance between him and the basket.
As Eric's going to pull that one. Luckily, he finds probably one of the tighter gaps out here on the course, but he gets down there.
He didn't hit a single thing over there. And Josh up here with what looks to be a textbook shot right there in bullseye.
Yeah, very nice. Let's see that again.
Love it.
That's the way to do it. You just want to skip up probably about 20 feet in front of the pin, and it should slide right up if you're throwing a slow disc. As Matt gives that a good bid, he was at a good height.
All right.
Good putt there from Proctor. He's able to get on the board early. Good circle to make. Good for the confidence. So we should see a couple cleanups for par and then an awesome tap in from Josh.
Well deserved, bud.
So this hole came in as one of the easier holes, definitely on the easier side, about a quarter stroke under par. So decent amount of the players out there getting the birdie.
And Matt not even drying off the disc before making the putt. Hole 3, 655, par 4. You're going to want to kind of land right about where this person's standing there. Maybe, 50 or so back is the sweet spot. And then you have these trees kind of all outlining the green. It is kind of a two-stage hole for most of these players.
Yeah, and this is what you don't want to do is turn it over right into them trees, and then you're going to get pinched off.
But it fought out right there on the edge.
Yeah, very lucky there from James. As we're starting to go out into the open, this course is a very good mixture of both open and wooded holes, being Pineland Farms Disc Golf, the Patriot layout. But you could see the rain's coming down, so being out in this open is going to be a little tricky. So that flips up real nice for Matt.
Yeah, really is able to push to be a little further past that elbow there. Give himself a clean approach.
That was a perfect shot there. As this needs to hook up, it's going to end up probably where James is. Maybe not as much.
Yeah, it seemed to be, a textbook throw that just drifted right for him. But I do believe he's going to have kind of fought his way out similarly to the last hole. So little tree love for Eric. James in a tricky situation.
So that was a great out from James. Should be able to get up and down for par.
Matt leaving himself just a Stockheiser approach to the green.
Yeah, you can't do it much better than that. So Eric pitched out from the woods here. This is his third shot. And he executes.
How'd that not go?
Proctor had a little more there than I thought. I thought he was closer to the circle and was able to give that a closer putt, but...
Oh, uncharacteristic from Matt there.
And Josh able to get the birdie. Lone birdie on the card. So this came in about 0.15 under par, so People should be taking birdie or par here. We have the rest being a couple cleanups. All right, moving into hole 4, 207-foot par 3. This is a similar hole to par 2 with it being, or hole 2, it being a speed and distance control. We have a big slope right behind the basket, almost like a little spine here that you need to land on, only being about 10 feet.
Rollaway potential is a big factor here on hole 4.
Debo does that perfect. You want it to kind of hit right on this side of the hill and just kind of let it scoot right up. If you land on that side of the hill, you are going past the basket.
And Eric tickling chains there with his Berg, which is a very good disc selection for this hole. Not very far, something that's just going to kind of die right at the end of the flight.
God, I'm strong.
James kind of juiced that one a little.
So it looks like I was mistaken on the last hole, and that shot from Eric was his shot that made it through the trees, actually. He ended up taking the birdie on that, so I do want to correct myself.
Oh, yeah.
Big putt there from James. Ooh. Just needed a little more height there from Matt. He's lucky that didn't roll away. And with Eric in and Josh should be able to tap this in, we're one putt off from a star frame. I think in Australia they call that a beer frame.
A lot of good beer up in Maine. Hole 5, par 3, 3-3-7. It's going to be just punching right here into the woods. As you see, it gets very tight, drifting over to the right. This angle here is a little deceiving. You want to kind of punch into that more right side gap. Again, there's a path behind it that is not OB.
Yeah, this is a very technical shot here. A lot of trees to miss.
Looks like that might have trickled up into some dense tree cover.
Eric's looks like it's gonna fade out, and that's pretty good there.
Yeah, it checked up just early enough to keep Eric out of where Josh found himself. James going a little wider, similar shot.
Yeah, it looks like he dissed up to a fairway instead of the mid from Eric, and it gets caught up, but I did like the line originally.
Yeah. That looks sick, dude.
That flips up good for Matt.
Oh. Hits there at the end, pushes itself back, so he's going to lose some distance there.
James able to get up and down there.
Yeah, Josh in not a great spot there.
Yeah, same with Matt here. Wall of trees. These are really tough scrambles.
And that's a good play. He should be right outside the bullseye.
Eric with the closest. He's just going to lay up there with the sloping green there. Steve-O still has some work here for par.
Ooh. Right as the wind picks up, pulls that disc further into the sky.
All right, and as we clean up here, this came in as the hardest hole on the day at 0.67 over par. So a lot of people were struggling out there. There was only one birdie for the first round. Big shout out to Luke Sampson, the only person to get the birdie here on hole 5.
I'll have to ask him if he did it lefty or not.
That moves us into hole 6, 505-foot par 4. Looks like we do have a Mando. You want to stay to the left, and we're back out in the open here. Second shot. Looks like there's not as many trees to contend with here. Really, this first shot, I think, is the one that matters.
Yeah, tee shot is very crucial as that Mando tree is further left than you think it is, leaving you a very small gap comparatively.
As Eric was early, and he catches up as James. There's a little low. I'm going to work a little higher up that hill.
Matt playing the higher angle. He should have himself a pretty good wide open shot.
Caught one branch there, but that was good height.
And Eric took an interesting bounce and ended up finding himself on the other side of the path.
Yes, he has to go roller out of there. Luckily, he does get out. He should be able to get up and down here. He still has a little bit of work.
Yeah, and with these slick conditions, it does make this hole, that much more make or break with how you play it. One little slip up, you find yourself into some trouble.
And DiBattista, he turns his over and has some work as Eric's kind of pinched behind this tree, but he throws a relatively great shot there. The wind is whirling. There is rain coming down. Matt sticks it.
Yeah, at this point, we've kind of shifted away from standard rain droplets, and it's just a steady mist.
Proctor makes that look nice. Looks like he did work farther down the fairway than I thought. He just was not over that hillside yet. Josh should be able to save par. This is Eric looking to save his par.
Fuck off, man. That's a good putt.
Little high for Eric.
Needs to be careful with them kicks. You can slip out there doing that. As Josh is going to miss his par putt as well.
And Matt Bell shows us how this hole is played.
Yeah, well executed there. Able to get another birdie on his card. James is going to follow suit there and take the lead on the card, being 3 under through 6. some bogey cleanups here, and it's a little different when it's raining. You have umbrellas, and the pace of play changes, the style of your game changes, especially when you're out in the open.
Got it.
Elevation for your mind.
Hole 7, 298 par 3, pretty much just a stock hyzer, but if you look right behind it, death. Basically, you're going to want to play, the safe play is to play short, let it just scoot on up to it. But we do have wind in play right now.
Yeah, it does look like it's a headwind. That OB is very close to the basket. I mean, it looks like it's within 15 feet.
Yep, so and if you do find your way in there, I do believe that there is a drop zone there to our left.
So Eric goes with the forehand route. Kind of takes the OB out of play as long as you don't turn it over. But if you're a righty, like you said, just throw it a little short, just like that. Just scoot on up right inside the circle.
And given the weather conditions, I would say walking away from this hole with a par is probably something that's going to get you a stroke on some of the field.
Oh, no. Yeah, there were 35 birdies today, so looks like the field was still able to get a lot of birdies, coming in a quarter stroke under par.
And some local love there for Josh.
As he's able to be one of those pars. And with Eric here, I mean, that's 50% of the cards still getting the birdie here. We're going to move into hole 8, 390-foot par 3. We're going to throw downhill into the woods. Very, very tight gap here. That mixed with the elevation change and with a very treacherous green here. This comes in as a pretty tough hole. So Eric looks like he's lining up the I don't even want to mess with that gap line.
And this was something that him and James were kind of chatting back and forth on the, well, why don't I try this? So they were kind of both egging each other on there. We will not be seeing Josh doing this. He's going to go the traditional route, turn over. Was hoping that that was going to check up a little, but does not appear to have done that.
James is going to take that route as well. I mean, if you got it, sure.
All right, I'm buying beer. That's definitely close to mine.
Yeah, you can hear Eric in the background. They had a little side bet going on.
It looks like James is going to be a little closer there. We expect Matt here to do a nice turnover as well. Hyzer flip.
Turnover route? Are you going for that?
Oh, that's looking great.
Oh, wow.
Great shot from Matt. Park job. Eric battling some of the jungle.
I like that. That's awesome. Cool.
A little vocal there as well. This is for par.
At the very least, he did stay on the top side of that green.
This is a pretty tricky shot here from James.
Squares
right
it.
there. And Josh, he turned his over a little too much.
The right idea, though, because if it had stabled up the way he had anticipated, he'd be in the perfect landing zone.
James misses his par putt as well, so it looks like the over-the-top play is not playing well to the percentages here. This hole came in 0.46 over par, so almost a half a stroke over par. Another very challenging and technical hole here. Matt, only one of 7 birdies. Big shout out to Colin Hayden as well, getting the birdie, Team Gatekeeper.
All right, and as we round out the last hole in our front 9, 188 feet, par 3, turnover with a Mando here. It's pretty sharp turnover, actually. Not really much more to say about that. You're going to want to keep it tight to the right. You can kind of see the band of the basket from this angle.
Yeah, I would say don't let the 188 fool you. It's definitely pretty uphill, playing well over 200.
And another one of those Mandos further to the side than you'd think, not giving you much room for error.
Josh does work right there, putting that well inside the circle.
Short swivel, nollie to the left.
A little short there from Eric. And good shot there from James. Eric being just outside the circle, everyone else being inside.
Sweet! Awesome! On.
So Eric's just battling right now to stay at par. Proctor's going to pick up the birdie, get him back to 3 under, tied up with Matt Bell. Well, it looks like Matt still has some work here.
Oh boy.
Gets it done. It's a big sigh of relief from him there. So that keeps him the only player here on this card bogey free here through 9. That's going to finish it up here. Still a lot of golf to play in this tournament as everyone's still relatively close here.
All right, well, there we have it on the front 9, round 1. Thank you for tuning in, and we are looking forward to checking out the back 9 with all of you.